Hi, everyone, and welcome to ALD No Limits. I'm Christy with ALD.
And I'm Ken at AMN. Our guest this episode is Stephanie. Welcome to ALD No Limits.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Yes, we are thrilled to have you.
And I want to real quick, I want to step in here. I know your face, but this is kind of cool because on Facebook, you'll get the people you may know, and you hover over them and you look at the mutual friends, and they're like all ALD. So you're like, it's got to be ALD. What is the story? And here we are. So we're gonna find out more. So
you're gonna find out more, and we should probably be friends, Ken. I don't know, we're not friends yet.
We'll be friends. Yeah, sounds good.
I think you're friends with my husband, though. So there you go.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Making friends on ALD No Limits. I love it. Everybody should friend Ken, right?
Everybody should friend Ken.
He's very entertaining, very funny. Yeah. And you'll get all the latest and greatest updates on ALD No Limits. So
you will.
Yeah. So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself. We will get into your ALD diagnosis story, but curious about you as a human. Where are you from? What do you do? What is your family like?
Okay. I was born and raised in Utah. In fact, the episode you had a while ago with that guy from Utah, he is in South Jordan. I grew up in West Jordan. Both my husband and I did, which is crazy. So that was fun to hear. But we've kind of lived everywhere. So we did school in Tennessee. We've done work in Oklahoma and California and Utah, and then thought we'd be in Utah forever and just ended up in Kansas. We live really close to Kirsten Finn, actually. We've had her family over for dinner, and I've done Chick-fil-A with her. So it's just really fun. She actually, right around diagnosis for us, I was reading a story about Connor and saw that they moved to Kansas and was like, hey, I need to talk to her. And she gave me all the info, the neurologist, the endocrinologist, the dentist, the orthodontist. Like, she gave me everything. She's so sweet. So yes, we live in Eastern Kansas, right by Kansas City. First and foremost, I am a woman of faith that carries me through my life. I am a wife to Eric. If you want to show that picture, it kind of shows our family. I'm a wife to Eric. We've been married 20 years, 20 wonderful years. Not always easy, but I'm so glad that we're together and doing life together. My oldest is my daughter, Isla. She is 13. Eli is the next oldest. He's 11. And then we have little Tommy and Harvey. They're 5 and 3. Tommy's on the right there by me.
Beautiful family.
So they're really fun. I'm a nurse. I do home health. My husband's an air traffic controller, so we kind of work the odd schedules. We like to be home with the boys who both have adrenal insufficiency. And I'm one of 8 kids in my family, 7 girls and a boy. And I am a lover of Diet Coke and Kansas City barbecue. So that is us and me. So, yeah.
Love it. So you mentioned 2 boys have adrenal insufficiency. So let's get into the diagnosis story here. Tell us how ALD came up for your family.
Yeah. So I have ALD. It comes from me. And my 2 littlest boys have ALD. And throughout our whole story is a story of timing. We feel that God led the timing of everything. Even though I had the heartbreak of struggling to get pregnant with 2 of my kiddos, it led to us being able to have a kiddo during newborn screening. Around the time that Harvey was born, it was his newborn screen that was caught. My husband had accepted a job in Kansas as an air traffic controller, and we were building a house in Kansas. It wasn't going to be ready until December, and he started work in September. So we decided to sell our house in Utah before Harvey was born and move in with my parents. We could have easily moved to Kansas into a house and not built a house, but for some reason we chose to do that crazy build a house 2 states away, and it was crazy. But because of that, we were in Utah during diagnosis, and Kansas was not screening at the time. So we were really blessed to have that. We sold our house in May, moved in with my parents in June. Everybody should live with their parents when you have your fourth kid. It was amazing. And then Harvey came on the most perfect day in July. And if I could have written out a perfect birth plan, it would have been his. He was the only baby who came on his scheduled induction day. He came on his own. I did not have to be induced. And I had those beautiful 24 hours of him just being perfect. In fact, I have a picture. Let's see. I don't know how to pull this up where it's just. So this is on the day he was born.
Oh.
The sweet little Harvey. And the story goes, they had to suction him and everything. And so they gave him to Daddy after he had all pinked up. And he was talking to him, but then Harvey heard my voice and he arched his back to look to where I was and find his mama. It was so sweet. So that's our little Harvey.
A great picture.
And then this is one right after he was born. All three of us will see. Tommy and Harvey have always had just a really special bond. It's been really wonderful. So
sweet.
So that was in July. In August, we get the infamous phone call. And it's from our pediatrician's office. Our pediatrician was on vacation, and so it was the on-call pediatrician's MA. And she said his newborn screening had been flagged. Eric was on his way out the door to the gym, and I was like, hold up. Come and sit. Come and hear what is going on. And so she didn't tell me what it was. She did say that they're trying to get us into a neurologist, and she'll call us back later with an appointment time. So, of course, the nurse in me knows that a newborn screen flag is not a great thing. And so I immediately pull up the Utah State newborn screening list, and they're only screening for 2 neurological conditions, and one of them is X-linked adrenoleukodystrophy. And so I immediately start Googling, and we know how that goes. It was awful. And I was hoping I was being dramatic. I was hoping I was going to the worst case scenario and that it wasn't going to be as bad. I wouldn't tell my husband anything. I ended up calling the doctor's office back later. They said, we couldn't get you into the neurologist you wanted, but we got you into another one tomorrow at 10 a.m. We had the pediatrician call us back, and my husband talked to him, and he confirmed that the very long chain fatty acids were elevated. And that he had no idea what ALD was, which is par for the course for us, right? Like nobody knows. We educate so many clinicians about what's going on with our kiddos and ourselves.
Yep, good point.
So that night, I thought I wasn't going to sleep, but miraculously, I slept. I didn't even have to take anything for it. I'd wake up with the baby and I'd go back to sleep. But my husband was all night Googling, so he didn't get any sleep that night. We woke up in the morning. We start getting ready with our 4 kids. It's just crazy. And I get a call, and it's the nurse practitioner in Dr. Bonkowski's office. She says they've already canceled the appointment with the other doctor. Could we please be there at 2:00 to meet with Dr. Bonkowski? Yes, I had already Googled him. I knew who he was, and I knew we were going to meet with him anyways eventually. So I thought we will move water to be there. Like it will come about. So we drive up there. We get there a little early to get labs done. My husband drops me off. Getting labs done was so traumatic on a little tiny baby. And I've had to do a lot of therapy over that one. But they finally get him, and we head upstairs to Dr. Bonkowski's office. And the room fills up with people. Dr. Bonkowski sits on his chair. He has his leukodystrophy nurse. He's got this nurse practitioner and the genetic counselor, probably a couple fellows, but the room is full of people. And he tells us about adrenoleukodystrophy. He tells us that if we have to have a genetic disorder, this is the one to have. It's very treatable. And what I love about this memory is looking back, he was so slow about, he would present a piece of information and then he'd pause and watch our faces and present another. He knew we were in shock, and we were. he would write down diagrams on a piece of paper, and he'd offer us more papers. And I think we entered a research study while we were there. And we came home with a whole bunch of papers. I don't know if you guys came home with a bunch of papers. I swear to you, they were in my bedside table, and I would rifle through them, and then I'd put them back in there because it was too overwhelming to go through all of them all the time. So anyhow, and then he did the first of many neurological evaluations on my tiny Harvey. And it makes me emotional just thinking about it, that somebody who is so concerned with not only finding these boys and helping them, but also research to improve outcomes for these boys, to catch them early, to advocate for them. It's just wonderful to have that in a clinician, in a physician. And I will say, he told me 10 years ago, if you had this disorder, the treatment landscape was entirely different than it is now. So you can imagine 10 years from now, when your boys are getting close to AMN, what that's going to look like for them. It's going to be entirely different then as well. So, and I think he just had a book come out kind of describing that same thing. I haven't read it yet. I can't wait to read it. So
yeah,
anyway,
I just saw that. And I was looking it up as we started talking earlier, sorting out the slides, and it's called Dancing Eyes, Dancing Feet on the Front Line of the Revolution in Children's Medicine. Josh Bonkowski, MD, PhD. It's in my cart on Amazon. I'm really excited to read that. But he just published this. It just came out. So very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. He's wonderful. We go and see him once a year. And he reviews all of our MRIs. He's wonderful. So I will say, we got the call in August. September, we confirmed testing for him, and then we confirmed testing for my older boy. Eli does not have it. We were so relieved. And then in September, we confirmed diagnosis for myself that was October, myself and Tommy. And we also confirmed that 2 of my sisters do not have it. And one of my only brother, does not have it as well. Later on, my mom does get tested, and she doesn't have it as well. So we consider myself a de novo mutation. So I'm just a unicorn. My husband likes to buy lottery tickets because he thinks we are lucky or something. So I don't know if that's true, but whatever. So yeah, and then we start MRIs for Tommy in November. And then in December, we start dosing them with hydrocortisone, both of them. And Eric's dad dies, which was kind of a crazy way to end the year. And then we move out to Kansas to an Airbnb because, of course, our home is not finished.
Ooh, it's like a deep breath there.
I know. Luckily, Kirsten had all of our doctors lined up for us, so we just hurried and called up all those doctors, and it was just wonderful.
It's great.
So,
it's great, but it's a lot. I just want to pause for a second because you have 4 kids. That's huge. That's so much to manage, so much going on. And then 2 of your 4 have ALD. Yeah. So, I mean, when that news was in October, you said?
Yeah.
Where you were diagnosed, and can you just talk about how you processed that?
So you have called it the diagnosis funk that lasts for at least 6 months. And it's true. You really don't know which way is up and which way is down. And I have a history of anxiety and depression, and I knew going into it, like, I'm not going to figure this out quickly. And so I had to be okay with feeling the grief and feeling the anger and feeling the just free fall feeling you don't ever feel like you're on your feet steady. It was a lot of prayer, a lot. And when I'm an open book. And so whenever I get anything like this, I tell everybody about it. And most people don't understand. Most people don't know what to say, and that's fine. It does make you feel very alone when people don't know what to say. But there were some people that knew how to sit with me in it. And that's why I told so many people is so that people can sit with me in this. And nobody is the same. Not even ALD families have the same story. But they can empathize, and they can sit with you in it. There was one woman that she was raising her granddaughter that both her parents had been on drugs when she was born. And so she had a lot of neurological deficits. And she told me that she learned about a colony of people somewhere in the world that they did not have any expectations about how the hot season should go, or when it should end, or when the rainy season should be. It was just the rainy season until the rainy season ended. And that, this season of life is very chaotic and very no answers, and trying to figure it out. And that's okay. I did know that God was walking through it with us, and that he would send earthly angels and heavenly angels to just keep us company and give us support and love. And they did. They came out, and our family is one of the biggest supports. And they were our earthly angels that just loved us and supported us and listened to us cry and watched our kids, and they were just wonderful. So that's how I coped, if you can call it coping. It was a lot of me feeling crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, thanks for being real about it. I think, it's so important to just acknowledge, that what that hard news looks like for your family, and how you, surrounded yourself with people and told others. And I love that earthly angels were here with you. That's awesome.
Because that was, I was going to say that was a bam, bam. Like, it wasn't back to back, but that's a lot all at one time. I mean,
it was a lot at one time. And the guilt that you feel, not only for, your little boys, but my husband, like, he's enlisted. He's not going anywhere. And all of a sudden he's going to be dealing with a medical family that for 20 years we had no idea existed, just a sleeping monster. So, yeah. Yeah, but he's wonderful. He's like, I'm not going anywhere, Steph. This is just where I am. Where else would I go? He says. So anyhow, yeah.
Love it. All right. So you have the diagnosis. You lose your father-in-law. You have 2 kiddos with ALD. You have to celebrate Christmas. When is this happening? What year was all of this happening?
Was in 2022.
Okay. So post-COVID too.
Thankfully.
Right? But still, having gone through all that too, was so much. So how does 2023 start for you? And what does that look like?
It is just getting used to Kansas. We love Kansas. Getting to know our neighbors. We live in a cul-de-sac, and it's wonderful. And it's establishing care with all of our new doctors. It's really busy. And then, Harvey starts his MRIs every 6 months at 2 as well. So we have that going for us. But I will go and show some pictures. Like, they're so cute. Look at these little boys when he's still tiny. Anyhow, this is what it looks like when you're doing lab draws. I think this is when we were doing our ACTH stim test, which was awful. This is just another lab draw with both of them, just their really sad faces. This is after an MRI when he's sedated, and they come out and they're just so sleepy and alligators. Like, they get so mean at this age when they come out of anesthesia too. Sweet little boy there, showing us how strong he is. He's always been the easiest patient, Tommy has. Sorry, I was trying to blur out the healthcare workers there. But that's Harvey. He was obsessed with the donut that roars. And so he wanted to go see it. And I loved getting this picture of little Harvey in his tiny, tiny little hospital gown. So, and then we're also lucky, Tommy's best friend, that's his dad. He was our anesthesiologist quite a number of times. So that was really fun. So, but yeah. So it's a lot of lab draws. It's a lot of doctor appointments. It's a lot of MRIs and making appointments. Gosh, the making appointments alone is just so much. So, and then in January of this year, Tommy's MRI has a small lesion in the corpus callosum splenium. It's non-enhancing. At that time, there was, it's been difficult working with so many practitioners. Just the communication, the transfer of images, just everything, it just delays everything. It's having us reconsider, maybe we just fly out and see Dr. Bonkowski twice a year just to streamline everything. But we did get that. We had, as soon as we heard about it and we started talking to transplant teams, I was like, okay, so our life might not be our own for a year if we go to transplant at the follow-up MRI. So we packed up and went to Disney World, and that was really fun. And then we also did.
I love that. Wait a second. You got this terrible news, and you're like, YOLO.
We're going to Disney World. We're going to the beach, and y'all. My husband was sick the first day of Disney World. I solo parented Disney World with 4 kids.
Rough.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, my little boys can take pills now. Otherwise, you're carrying around this little thing of water that you have to keep cool. And yeah, and syringes and all the things. But now they take pills and it's glorious.
Good.
So, so anyways, we go to Florida. We get family pictures done, and we do another MRI in March. And thankfully, it didn't show any progress. The impression was that it was just a teeny bit bigger, but there was some argument amongst all our neurologists that maybe it's not. So we're doing another follow-up MRI in June. It just gives us a little more time. And during all of this time, we are researching multiple transplant teams, interviewing them and seeing where we want to go. And the whole time I felt very strongly that this is a family event. Tommy will be resilient. He'll be sick, but he will be resilient. This will be something that he has flashes of memory. He's only 5 if he goes to transplant, but my older kids will remember this the rest of their lives. Yeah. So it's been very important for me to keep our family together at the end of the day. And we've decided to transplant locally here in Kansas. But we toured a couple units. We were able to go and tour the actual bone marrow transplant units to flesh out what it would look like if we were there, and to kind of feel, like a gut feeling. Will this be a better place for us? Will this be the place we should go? So that was really helpful. We've been able to, I'll talk more about that later if we have time. But I wanted to specifically talk about how to talk to siblings about transplant, especially Tommy's older brother, Eli, is a 100% match for Tommy.
Oh, how lucky.
Oh, lucky. It is lucky. And wonderful. He's a 50%
You are lucky. You play the lottery more. Your husband.
I won. I know. So,
wait, sorry, go ahead. I cut you off. 100% match.
100% match. And so, but I wanted to know how to talk to him. I wanted this to be his decision. And so I would talk to a whole bunch of doctors. How do I talk to him about this? And nurses. And they said, your child, make it age appropriate. Give them very basic information and let them ask questions from there. And before I had talked to any specialists or therapists about this, The doctors all said often with these siblings is they feel responsible for how sick the kiddos get after they get their cells. And so making sure they know that it's not that their cells were bad, it's just the process. It's what they have to go through to accept those cells. So, and then I did find one research study that was kind of a case study. They sent questionnaires to families whose kid had had bone marrow transplant with a sibling donor, and just asking if these family members felt like the kid had a choice in it. And most of them didn't. But all of them except one said that they did not regret it. And the one that did regret it, the family paid more attention to the kid receiving the transplant than that kiddo, which was really sad to hear. So when I was at a meeting with a transplant team, I requested to meet with a therapist as well. And they gave great advice that we're never going to use the term superhero or saving their life. And that you can draw pictures of what a bone looks like and where the marrow is coming from the bone, and then talk to them about the process of drawing it from the hips or other or from the blood, if they can't do that. And all of the blood draws, I think they have to get something like 27 tubes drawn. So just making sure that they are, know that they're going to have to get their blood drawn and how they feel about that. They also said to make sure they know that this is a gift, that we give gifts all the time to people and we don't know how they're going to be received. And we don't have any expectations for how they're going to be received. We give it from the love from our heart and then let them do with it what they will. They also compared it to a seed, that we prepare the soil for the seed, and then the seed is offered and planted. And then you have to give sunlight and nutrients and water to the seed. But the seed itself is just present. It has no control over any of the environment for it. So I thought those were really good recommendations. So then we finally did. I found out that my little boy, my 11-year-old, he was at a friend's house in our neighborhood, and the friend was, I think we were visiting a transplant team. And my friend was like, so we kept everything very hush hush. And she was like, so what's going on with you guys? Like, why are Tommy and your mom away? And he's like, I don't know. I think they're keeping something from us. So when I heard that, I was like, I think maybe we need to start telling them. So we told them, and Eli immediately went, hey, wait, I'm the match for him, right? So like I can donate, like I would save his life. I'd be a superhero. And well, I'm not supposed to use those words, but here we are. Go ahead. Yep. He's like, can I brag to my friends? I'm like, sure, bud, you can brag to your friends. So that's how it went for them. We had him meet with a therapist here because he is very worried about how Tom will respond to his cells. Mm-hmm. And so we met with a therapist. She gave great advice that siblings need to know how it will look for them during transplant. Who's going to be at home with them? Who's going to be staying with Tommy? How long will Tommy be in the hospital? And it's interesting. I was in a car accident in 2023. Couldn't get a hold of my husband. We were in Utah. We were staying with my sister. So I got a hold of my brother-in-law. And my brother-in-law went and got Eric and said, she's been in an accident. Come on, we've got to go. And my kids thought I had died. And nobody told them what was going on. And I didn't even find out that they thought I had died until like a year later. So just keeping them in the loop is just so important for them. And then,
I was just going to say, I mean, when I hear you talk about Eli and sort of his reaction, wanting to tell his friends and everything, it makes me think how, parents sometimes are so nervous to tell our kids about difficult things or challenges, and kids are so much more like resilient and chill and like find interesting ways to talk about it. And so it's just an important message to never underestimate kids when we're talking about difficult things, right?
Yes, they are so resilient, and they can take a lot more information than we think they can take. And also we don't have to have it all figured out. Sometimes it's okay to let them know, I don't have it figured out, but this is what I'm working on. So, so anyways, he's a great kid. So,
and you're alive. You survived the car accident. I'm sorry you got into an accident.
The car accident. Yes, it was not a fun year for sure. So, yeah, but they also said, make sure, he's going into junior high. So she said, make sure that you are, giving him the support that he needs in this big transition. So, so those were all just the advice that I was given from therapists in how to talk to these kiddos. And I'll show all of my kiddos here. Aren't they cute? That was at Disney World. I think just the tram ride might have been their favorite ride.
Oh my gosh.
They're so cute. Tommy's messing all his teeth.
I
don't know if it's an adrenal insufficiency thing, but like he lost his teeth so early.
Huh.
Yeah, is he in kindergarten now? Or
we kept him home an extra year.
Okay.
So he's still in preschool.
Yeah.
But he could be in kindergarten. But even still, I feel like that was just so much earlier than my other kids. So
yeah.
And then this is all of my kids. Aren't they cute?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Beautiful.
So anyways. But yeah, so that's kind of talking about transplant. So
yeah. So where are you guys at now? You said it wasn't contrast enhancing. He has another MRI in June.
Another right? MRI in June. Yep. After Tommy's birthday. So he'll turn 6. Yeah, we've heard that, every doctor has different numbers that they tell you, but like 95% of these boys who have a lesion will go to transplant at the follow-up MRI. And 5 to 10, maybe 20% of these boys have self-halting. But I've also had some doctors tell me I've never seen one not go to transplant. So we're just preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I was told, and it's still in my brain, but they fairly certain I had a lesion as a child and it did self-arrest. And obviously no one knew about it, but I mean, so it's still in my brain, but as I get older, it shows, but it's some days said it kind of enhances a little bit, but it's just like a scar, I guess, because it's there. So it's not active, but I'm like, so, I mean, again, I have no idea when it was developed, but they think it was when I was a kid. So I was like, it's possible.
How old were you when you found it?
I found it. That wasn't until I started getting MRIs until I was about 32. So,
okay.
So I think it is possible. I guess it was possible in my instance, but.
Yeah. I've heard one doctor told me that if they are closer to the age of puberty, that they see it self-halt, but in the 5 to 6 year olds, they usually see it go to enhancing. But then again, that's one doctor's opinion. It might change from doctor to doctor. So,
yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot for your family. You talk so wonderfully about the admiration you have for your husband and how amazing he is, and other family members as well. Who do you feel like are your main support members, other than your husband?
Yeah. My kids are so sweet. We really try to show extra love and attention to Isla and Eli, my older ones, just because Tommy and Harvey do get so much attention. We probably could give them more. We're probably not doing enough, but we really try. So they're wonderful supports. They're just good kids. Our families are fantastic. My sister, I can call her, all of my sisters, I could call them crying any day of the week and get exactly what I need to pick myself up and continue taking care of my kiddos. My church community is wonderful, very supportive. I have no doubt that if we go to transplant, they will be a huge resource for us. So Yeah. My friends, I've got such wonderful friends who are willing to listen to my heartache and also help me work through things and help me to understand and process things. So I'm really blessed. Like when I hear that people don't have a big support system, it really breaks my heart. I'll be your support system. Here's my number. So
Great. Everybody heard that here. Call up Stephanie.
Yeah. So we actually our neurologist out here wants to, I think it's called a parent action committee or something like that for newborn screening families.
Yeah.
I hope that starts up. I'd love to head it up. So yeah. So that's our support. So
well, it's wonderful that you have so much support and that you in turn want to support others. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
That you have that capacity. It's beautiful.
I might not have the capacity. My life is definitely not together, but I love to support where I can. So
yeah. So let's talk about you and your diagnosis and being a woman with ALD. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I went to an ALD Connect meeting back in November of 2023. And I will say it was the first time that I really considered, what this will look like for me. It was the first time I'd seen women in wheelchairs or walking with walking sticks. And I was like, oh, this could really affect me. It was very sobering for me. Had to call up my husband and apologize profusely that this is your wife. And it might not, but also it might. So I think my symptoms started back in high school. I know you said the same thing, Christy. I always did ballet, and I always would be like, oh, my center is just weak. I've just got to find my center. And then as I got older in my 30s, I would lose my balance really easily. Let's see, I wrote down some stuff. I had a small intention tremor where it's fine. Like I'm really steady. My hands are really steady. But when I go to do anything fine motor movement, like writing, my handwriting is worse. When I'm drawing labs as a nurse or starting an IV, I'm a little shaky. I get it the first time every time still. But my poor patients are probably like, what is her problem? So, but I think the worst thing was spasticities. And I didn't know what they were. I was a runner. I thought maybe it's just I'm not stretching out enough after I do runs. In nursing school, I ran 3 half marathons. I had really bad sciatica during that time. And then when I was pregnant with my first, I also had really bad sciatica. And then after we moved home from California, we just had the 2 kids. I was like, hey, I got to get back into running. I've been so lazy. I just need to get off my bum and just run again. And so I would start, I would be like, I'm going to go 2 miles, where my normal regular favorite run is like a 5-mile run. But I was like, I'm going to do 2 miles. And I would work up and I'd be in so much pain, I'd have to stop. And it's more muscle tightness in the back of my quads, my glutes, my inner thighs. It's so painful. And so that was interesting to me. And then I finally started having numbness go down one leg. And so my husband had just worked through some herniated discs. So I was like, I know exactly what this is. So I went, and lo and behold, I did have herniated discs, and did some decompression therapy. And the numbness got better, but I wasn't seeing a lot of improvement. So that was in my 30s. And then we get the ALD diagnosis at the end of my 30s. And I'm like, oh, so I went and met with Dr. Bonkowski, and I said, is this, is this from my herniations in my lower back, or is this from ALD? And he said, some people have herniations and they never have any symptoms, but this could be either or. But So that's just kind of what I'm living with. We just don't know. So many, like, we'd love to blame everything on ALD. I think I heard you say before.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel that way. It's like, oh, why do I have an eye twitch? Is that ALD, right? Or, anything.
Yes.
But I mean, there are common threads, right? But they are threads that could also be other things too. So it's a little bit of a mystery, right?
Yeah.
But we're finding out more as more research gets done.
Yeah.
So are we running as of today?
No, that stopped before I ever had Harvey and Tommy, which breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. I have dreams about running again.
Oh.
It was just the way that I coped with life. And walking, I just don't get the same high. So I still have the pain when I walk. It's just
So what do you do to stay active besides chase around 4 kids?
I just literally, I'm like, it's a good thing I had these last 2 because I think they're keeping me young. I chase around 4 kids. Working as a nurse in homes, you're up and down and in small places. And so those are the biggest things. I want to be doing yoga. I want to be weightlifting, but I just don't do it. And I know I should, but I do walk. I love doing that in the summer when the fireflies are out. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. Good.
But I will say I've got all of my symptoms. Like I have brain fog. I have my intention tremor that's getting worse. It's worse on my left side. My balance is really off. I can't wear high heels anymore because I was at a work interview last February and stood up from the interview and couldn't tell where my feet were in space. Hit my shoe just wrong and I crumpled to the floor right in front of the nurse's station. It was very embarrassing. I did not get that job, surprisingly. So, so that's embarrassing. But I think, Ken, you talked about a Superman fall. Were you Superman? Yeah, I totally do that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I did that a week ago, as a matter of fact, a Superman fell. I've done it. I've hit a wall and split open my eyebrow.
Oh no.
So that's definitely happening. Bowel and bladder, stress incontinence, urgency. That's really fun. Whether it's from having 4 kids or ALD, I don't know.
Right.
Pelvic floor therapy does help, but you have to stay on top of it. And then constipation is a thing. Numbness down one leg or the other. The burning in my ankles, especially when I'm on my feet all day, is sometimes unbearable. I have a high pain tolerance, but that's really rough when that happens. Or if I'm on my feet all day, especially if I'm not in shoes, my feet will hurt like I've never experienced before. So that's another thing. When I was at the ALD conference, I went to a females with ALD group, and they said, I have this where I have like a really intense tickle in my leg, and then my whole leg jerks. And I'm like, yes, I do that, especially at night. And then when I met with Dr. Bonkowski, he did the tuning fork hook, something. He made it vibrate. He touched my toe. I felt it initially, and then it was gone, but it was still vibrating. And so I'm losing sensation clinically in my legs as well. So what I don't do much because, like I said, I have a high pain tolerance. I do magnesium at night, helps me sleep. It helps with the leg spasms. It also helps with constipation. I kind of dose my magnesium with how I've done with bowel movements the past couple days, and take more if I'm feeling constipated. But that
what kind of magnesium? Because there's different.
So magnesium biglycinate is what I do, and it's chelated. Okay. It's the Designs for Health brand.
Okay, thank you.
I got a big old bottle because it really works, and it helps with the restless leg, I think, is what those intense tickles are. But the whole leg jerk, I don't know if either of you have experienced that, but it like rocks the whole bed. So it's wild.
I have recently, because my story is unbelievable. I do need to come on and tell my whole story. It started with an egg. I had an egg. I was making breakfast, Somehow I overshot the pan. It went into my stove, into the oven. There I am bending down, reaching as far as I can like a dummy. I went down on my butt. And then I'm like, okay, I fell on my butt. Outside hurts. I get up the next day, go to work. And then I go to get up at work and then my knees buckle. And then I go down on my knees. And, so, I mean, it's been some days. I'm recovering. It's still sore. But when you're doing that, when you're recovering anything, that's when my spasms start. And the last couple of nights, it's just been like, but thank goodness, I've been falling asleep and they haven't been waking me up.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean,
well, and for me,
but magnesium, though, as you say, that's a bit in the community.
Yeah, we're always sharing supplements in the community, right? What's going to help with any symptoms? I was going to say, for me, when you were talking about falling, it made me think of my experience on Friday night when I decided to play soccer with my daughter's soccer team. I'm one of the coaches, and got taken out, like, boom, by a 7-year-old. 7-year-old, like, pretty good player, right? Flat on my back, but then proceeded, like, this is not unusual. Every time I have the courage or maybe pride, I guess, to play soccer with these kids, I fall. And they're like, Coach Christie, you're always falling. There's not one time when you don't fall. I'm like, I know, but she pushed me that time, okay? But I am suffering. Over the weekend. And I too had restless leg. And I'm like, is it because I fell and like my muscles are a little sore too?
Right.
Oh,
possibly.
Am I just old? I don't know.
I was out with my youth group ice skating. Y'all, I ice skated. What did I think was going to happen? I fell flat on my backside. So I had the whole gasping of all of the youth group too. Like, are you okay? Oh my gosh, so embarrassing. So that helps. And I will say, I have a vibration plate that also helps when like my feet really hurt. That helps.
Do you stand on it?
Nope. I just put my little feet on there.
You put your feet on it while you're sitting. Cool.
Yeah. While I'm sitting, if I'm charting or watching TV or something, I'll pull it out. So luckily that doesn't happen too often, but when I am up working on my house, it's just almost unbearable. So, and then Graston technique. I don't know if any of you have heard of this. Chiropractors do it, but I know neurologists would cringe hearing that. Physical therapists do it as well. It's a technique that breaks up fibrous tissue in tense muscles. So it's like they have a tool. It looks like a butter knife, a big butter knife, but it's smooth, and they'll use lubrication and they will just go to town breaking up those tough spots on your legs. But the relief, like, you will bruise. It will be so painful, but you will ask for more because it actually addresses, like massage. Even deep tissue massage is not going to reach those muscles, but this reaches them. Wow. And because we have, that nerve tissue is still damaged, it's going to keep coming back, but it does bring relief for a little while. So
what is it called again? This butter knife technique?
Yeah, it's called Graston. Graston. It's amazing. When I had sciatica with my first pregnancy, I was bruised so badly, but I could barely walk. And the next day I was 90% better. Like, it was incredible.
And can you do it to yourself, or do you have to go to a practitioner?
You could do it to yourself. I think you can even buy the tools online, but yeah, I think it might be better. And you have to have the right practitioner. If they are the least bit gentle, you want to be like, no, you've got to understand, you have to bruise me because I need the relief. So
fascinating.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little of those rollers. Do you know what I'm talking about? I have been in so much pain sometimes rolling, like my quad on a roller thing. It's like so much pain, not bruise pain. It never has bruised me, but I've been like lost my breath trying to like roll my muscle out. Interesting.
It's even better than that. It works better. So, yeah. Yeah,
So
that's what I'm doing.
tell us about, okay, so you're a woman with ALD. What about your daughter? You didn't mention if she got tested or not. What is your thought? Well, how old is she?
She's
And what are your
13.
thoughts on that? Okay, 13.
Yeah, so my thoughts are with that, if she wanted to be tested, we would test her. And we've asked her, we've told her the reasons why we're not testing you is because your symptoms aren't here yet. We know we don't need you as a donor. We also, because she was tested for both Tommy and Harvey as well. She's a match for Tommy as well and not for Harvey. They're 50% match.
Wow.
But just to preserve her ability to get life insurance and health insurance. But we've been very upfront with her if she ever does become sexually active at whatever age. Mom and dad are here for you. But we want you to know that you do need to be very careful. And if you are sexually active, we need to get you on birth control or we need to test you just to make sure, because you don't want to pass this on to any of your kids.
Right.
And you have a 50% chance each time. So
yeah, wow. So that's that's another difficult conversation to have, with your child. And thank you for sharing that. I think,
and it's also, we're very Christian. So to talk about, being sexually active with your daughter, it's kind of I've told my friends, like, this is what we talk about with her. And it's a very taboo subject, but at the end of the day, you can't have enough information about your body, about your family history. And we can't expect them to make perfect choices all the time.
Yeah.
And it's okay if they don't make perfect choices all the time. And maybe this is not a right or a wrong choice to them to become sexually active. We know what we teach, but at the end of the day, she's going to be making those decisions for herself at that point too. So we just want to be a support to her through it all. So yeah, that was our reasoning.
You guys are doing a great job as parents.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and can I say there were a few things that I had wished I had done differently.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I wish that I had done the ACTH stim test with both of my boys before they started dosing for hydrocortisone. I don't have that baseline. I just know that they were producing cortisol and their ACTH was mildly elevated before they started hydrocortisone. And then after they started it, they produced no cortisol. And one of them, their ACTH is normal, and the other one is still a little bit elevated, but not terribly. It probably is because he's throwing so many tantrums that he's always in like this stress state. I don't know. One of the early symptoms for Tommy was that he did not throw any fits. Whenever he didn't like what we had to say, even as a 2-year-old, he would just lay down prostrate on the floor in protest. But he wouldn't throw a fit. We called them the silent tantrums. I just don't think he had the energy to throw a fit. Poor baby. Also, both of my boys, when they needed to start fludrocortisone, when they would get sick, I would stress dose them. I knew how to do that. But then they would have this abdominal and back pain that would linger. And it took us a while to start with Tommy. We knew his renin was high, which is why you would give fludrocortisone. But once we started the fludrocortisone, the back and belly pain stopped when he was sick. And so Harvey was not taking it. He got a stomach ache and was throwing up, but the throwing up resolved. But for like 3 or 4 days after the fever and the vomiting, he was still having belly pain and he wouldn't eat. And so we took his renin. Tommy's renin was always around 6 when he started fludrocortisone, which was high, but it wasn't terrible. But Harvey's renin was 11 when they started it. And I don't know what's super high and what's not super high and what's critical or whatever. But that was our experience. And our endocrinologist, she says that is not documented in the literature. I did see when I would Google that maybe that was the sign of an adrenal crisis. But my endocrinologist did say she was on an airplane once and somebody was going into adrenal crisis. Lucky that they had her on there. But she said, I always know when I'm going into crisis because my back hurts, like flink pain. So that's something to be watching for in these little boys, because they can't tell us exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
So that was helpful for me to know. And she believes me. She's wonderful. She believes me about that. And it didn't go away. No, sometimes I would give 4 stress doses in a day, and it didn't help one bit. And they were just salt wasting. So I wanted that out there. Something else that when we're going through this transplant research process, there is a big risk of them going sterile. And so we talked to a urologist out here. It's called testicular harvesting. And when they're going in to get their Hickman or their port or anything placed, they'll come in and just take a sliver of the testicles. And then you have to freeze it. So you pay for, it's not covered by insurance. So it's $1,000 to harvest and then $500 a year to freeze. And then they don't even know when the best time is to reimplant it, whether it's in puberty, so they have all those hormones kind of making it more robust, or when they're ready to have babies. They've actually the doctor only reported that there is a monkey that he went on to have kids, and those kids went on to have kids, but there's not even, like, this is very new. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. So that's something I want it out there so other parents know about it too.
Definitely. Yeah. It's like all of the questions to ask, right? And to know about. I mean, it's so funny, in some ways to think about your 5 or 6-year-old having children is strange, but these are all of the things you need to think about for their future, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. It's really, really important to think about. And I have heard that, with bone marrow transplant, chemotherapy, all of that, your fertility is at risk. So I have heard that piece, but interesting to hear about how to preserve it as well. Are there other options that you know of?
No, and even if, because I asked, would it reintroduce the ALD gene into their body? And they said it's a different process, is what he said. So no, it wouldn't reintroduce it back in. That's also a consideration.
Right.
Also, it would not have Eli's DNA, because Tommy's essentially going to be Eli DNA wise.
Right.
And but if Tommy went on to have kids with this, it would be his DNA. So the kids would look like him. We would still do in vitro, because I don't want him having any girls.
Right.
It ends here, right? As we all say. So that's something to consider. Even if he doesn't use it, I want him to have the option to have that choice. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's kind of like a stay tuned, right? We will wait and hear how this works out for your family. And I'm so glad we're all going to be friends on Facebook now. And even if you're not posting as much as Ken posts, you can message and hear some updates every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's time, Ken, for our $1 million question.
Definitely. All right. If you could live one day without ALD, what would you do?
I would run on the beach, Ken. I would run on the beach.
Love it.
I'd take my kids down to the beach, and we'd spend all day on the beach, and I wouldn't have any pain, and it would just be a great day.
Digging through that sand with those toes and all good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, I would. So
I'm with.
I love it. Can we come?
Yes. Let's all meet up at the beach. I want to meet.
We can play soccer and family over our own feet.
No, we wouldn't have ALD.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't have ALD.
Yeah.
True.
It's our day too. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're joining in.
Well, Stephanie, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you and hear your family's story. And we're coming up upon Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to shout out the moms, including you. for your incredibleness and navigating the ALD journey with your family and yourself. That's what ALD No Limits is all about, right, Ken?
That's right.
So to our listeners, we hope that you watch this in its entirety and that you like, subscribe, and share with other folks who will find it interesting and helpful.
You said it.
Thank you so much. This was a blast.
Woo-hoo!